Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. Welcome, Kiki. And as I keep saying, action-packed as ever, so we are going to just jump right in. We are working with 4 big astrological energies and events. We have Uranus in Gemini. It's just moved in. We had Neptune go retrograde. Saturn just went retrograde. And tomorrow, Mercury goes retrograde. So there's a lot happening. And let's just jump to the astrological chart because we're going to be playing with this. This is the chart for Mercury retrograde. And welcome, Olivia. And there's a lot. When you look in the center, you can see there's a star there. There's a pentagon there. You'll see that there is Venus is in square to Mars in the South Node. So Divine Feminine is square Divine Masculine. Divine Masculine is conjunct together with the South Node, meaning what humanity is releasing. You see that the Sun is opposite Pluto. So life force against the underworld, and it's Pluto is in Aquarius, so it's this whole revolutionary aspect. At the top of the chart, Moon and Chiron are conjunct together. They are squaring the Sun. They are also squaring Pluto. And then you have all of these mini grand trines. There are the blue triangles. There's 3 of them. So there's so much going on in this chart that is, and welcome Alicia, that is teeing up what we're going to be talking about. The astrological influences, acid reflux. It all comes up and out. So between the Neptune retrograde, the Uranus entering Gemini, the Capricorn full moon, it was at 18 degrees. That 18 is in the I Ching, in the hexagram, 18 is decay, remedy, repair what's spoiled. Then Saturn stationing retrograde, Mercury stationing retrograde. We'll get to the Sun enters Leo next week, but these 1, 2, 3, 4, these 5, and number 5, you'll see a pentagon is 5-sided. So it's all about acid reflux. It all comes up and out. And remember that, with last week, it was all about turning tables. So this is all these energies, what's going to happen between now and early next year, 2026, February to April. This is all going to be about the turning tables, the tables turn, the acid reflux. It all comes up and out. All of this stuff that we've been talking about that, isn't always attractive. And yet, let's look at our main theme. We're going to dive in there first. This was in last week's show, but it was omitted. It didn't come out. Well, it became the main theme this week. The man of lawlessness. The bubble bursts. And what's amazing about this image, I mean, of all the, again, of all the images, you see Manhattan, New York City, the skyline in the back, and there's this huge bubble floating in front of it in the foreground. Well, the man of lawlessness, the bubble bursts. And the man of lawlessness, this is biblical. And as we're looking for it, as I'm looking for it, and maybe it's not up here for some odd reason, and it should be because it's the main thing. So, see, Mercury retrograde. So, bear with me for a moment while I bring it up. And in essence, we have this aspect where what we're talking about here, because with the man of lawlessness and the bubble bursts and this Neptune retrograde, Saturn retrograde, they're going back to finish unfinished business. And so this is where this main theme comes in, where the unseen said, going down in a blaze of glory. It's not always positive. So let me just jump to blaze of glory because I do have that up. And here we are. So going down in a blaze of glory means to experience a dramatic and impressive end. It implies a final act or achievement that is memorable and powerful. Remember, they're saying not always in a positive manner. Going down, this part refers to the end or conclusion of something, often a career, a life, or a particular endeavor. A blaze of glory. This refers to a display of brilliance. We had last week, watch what happens next, a blinding light. So this display of brilliance can be like luminosity, light, intensity, or grandeur, like a fire burning brightly before it goes out. It suggests a final, memorable act that leaves a lasting impression. So, and there's also something that's taking place, because when I went to write 7/16, which is today, I wrote 9/16. And so there's this aspect of watch what happens next, a blinding light, that was last week, and the man of lawlessness, the bubble bursts. All of this Neptune, Saturn going back into the final degree of Pisces to finish up business. And there's all these harmonious acts. So the major outer planets are all positively aspecting one another. And they're going to for some time into like 2026 and so forth. So there's this whole aspect of how the new, the change, Aquarian, matriarchal, we the people, this kind of energy is here. And it's ensured. It's ushered. And so we're going down, this is going down in a blaze of glory. It's not always positive. Now, I'm just switching in because I apologize, it's Mercury retrograde. So here we are, we're looking for the man of lawlessness, and here we are. So the man of lawlessness, it says, do not let anyone deceive you in any way. This is from 2 Thessalonians 2. Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. He will oppose and will exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped, so that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God. Don't you remember that when I was with you, I used to tell you these things? And now you know what is holding him back, so that he may be revealed at the proper time. For the secret power of lawlessness is already at work. But the one who now holds it back will continue to do so till he is taken out of the way. And then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord Jesus will overthrow with the breath of his mouth and destroy by the splendor of his coming. The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with how Satan works. He will use all sorts of displays of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie, and all the ways that wickedness deceives those who are perishing. They perish because they refused to love the truth, and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion so that they will believe the lie, and so that all will be condemned who have not believed the truth, but have delighted in wickedness. Now, obviously, this is biblical. This is roughly 2,000 years old. This is from 2 Thessalonians. So only the divine, God, the divine, the all that is, knows who, quote, the man of lawlessness is. And we could certainly see in world affairs and so forth who might represent that. I'm not making a statement about that someone is or isn't. What the unseen is saying to us is bringing to our attention this massive shift from one era to the next. That we're to watch with Uranus and Gemini. It's the last outer planet. All of the major planets are shifting. Neptune and Saturn are going back, and you're going to see how this retrograde is for us. They're always for us, but it's for us. It's to advance us forward so that when we do, we're looking at this, we're recognizing, because it's number 4 from the unseen. They said repairing. So all of these energies are repairing, but they said repair what is spoiled. And it's a mandate, it's a direct order, it's a directive. So in our individual lives, in our collective lives, the unseen, it's number 4, it's foundation. They're saying foundational. They're saying repair what is spoiled. That has to do with Capricorn, the full moon. It's sandwiched in between these astrological events, as I just showed you. So in Capricorn, it's a cardinal earth sign. They're the initiators and the leaders. So here the unseen is saying to us, with this full moon, and full moons reveal, they bring to light what's hidden, the decay, the spoil, the illusion, the delusion, all of this stuff. So it's both repairing, but a mandate, a direct order, a directive from the unseen, repair what is spoiled. So in our individual and collective lives, there's a choice at hand. Repair what is spoiled in our lives. Be proactive, take action, empty the vessel, release what no longer serves. Because again, this is cosmic. As above, so below. This is a fait accompli, and everything is moving forward. It may look like we're going backwards, but to the point of the man of lawlessness in 2 Thessalonians, see, it's its own undoing. There is a benefit to this quote unquote lawlessness. The benefit isn't what it looks like on the surface. Oh, they're being lawless, and everything's for sale, and just ruthlessness. No. What's really on offer is how that brings up all the goo. It exposes it, it demonstrates it, and it becomes its own collapse. Because that is not how the unseen, nor how the light operates in terms of illicitness. It operates in love, in purity, in transparency, in goodness, in harmony, in unity. And so this is exposing that to the depths. And you can see that in the actual chart, the astrological chart. Just going to bring it back up. There's a lot going on in this chart. This is the Mercury retrograde chart, the astrological influences, acid reflux. It all comes up and out because we're there's a mandate, repair what's spoiled. And our main theme, the man of lawlessness, the bubble bursts. This bubble of illusion, this bubble of antiquities is what the unseen is saying. Now, you see the bubble floating here, and then our mantra, I retrace my steps to find the way. There's this beautiful path, this cobblestone path, and yet you see the way, it's the same round, it's a round bubble, an opening in the bridge that's round. So the unseen is saying to everyone, see this illusion, this man of lawlessness, and the bubble bursts, it's going to pop. But the mantra, I retrace my steps, all these retrogrades, I retrace my steps to find the way. And that isn't a bubble. It's the symbol of eternity, the circle. It goes on forever. This is a circle, not a bubble. And yet they appear and represent the same, but they're drastically different. So the way doesn't pop. It's not an illusion. It is absolutely there for us. And so we retrace our steps to find the way. Now, the next thing, and let me just go to our keyword very quickly because this is important as well. And it demonstrates where, this is what's wrong is everybody wants to, abdicate our keyword, responsibility. We have a responsibility to get this right. We have a responsibility to Mother Earth. We have a responsibility to our fellow souls. There's 8 billion souls on the planet. Responsibility. The fact or state of being responsible, answerable, or accountable for something within one's power, control, or management. The quality or state of being responsible, such as a moral, legal, or mental accountability. To be in a position of authority over someone or something, and to have a duty to make certain that things are done. One would say done rightly, correctly. Something that you have a duty to do and that you're expected to do. A form of trustworthiness, the trait of being answerable to someone for something or being responsible for one's conduct. So we are literally, the unseen, like they're calling us out on the carpet. They are the mandrakes and they're shaking us. They're to our core, to our roots, our foundation. The unseen, these energies are shaking our foundations loose because we have a responsibility to meet the era, to meet the moment, to rise up and define, claim, state. What are we for? Are you for lawlessness? So be it. It's a choice. So be it. However, when you are, expect the energies of that to come back 1,000-fold. Or are you for unity, oneness, righteousness, goodness, equanimity, respect? Expect those same energies to come back 1,000-fold of those. So there's a large exclamation point is what they're showing me, because it's repair what is spoiled. To harness that Capricorn full moon, harness the Saturn, Neptune, Mercury retrogrades, harness Uranus in Gemini, harness these energies for the greater good. Aquarian, matriarchal, we the people. To do otherwise, it's number 5, and this is where that I was writing down. I went to write 7, but I wrote 9, and it's the song. It's from Jerry Orbach, sang it in the 1960 musical comedy play The Fantastics. Try to remember the kind of September is the song. So it's a nostalgic song. And so the unseen, it's number 5, it's about change. So the unseen is saying, watch what happens next. And a blinding light and the man of lawlessness, the bubble bursts. Well, try to remember the kind of September. And it's a song about when things are idyllic and, beautiful and kind and loving and so forth. And so the unseen said, between now and mid-September. And then I got this mashup in my head of 2 songs. Fireworks by Katy Perry and Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus. Now remember, 2 shows back with Uranus in Gemini, it comes in like a wrecking ball. So here's this mashup, like the song is try to remember the kind of September. Remember when things were good. That will sustain you, that will uplift you, that will guide you, direct you to the right octaves. Welcome, Elizabeth. And then in this window between mid-July, mid-September, these energies arcing out into early 2026. It's a mashup of watch the fireworks and the wrecking balls. Because again, the energy or the act of lawlessness serves a divine purpose. It's biblical, it's in the Bible. So while it is not pretty to bear witness to, it is its own undoing. It brings it all up and out. If you're being illicit and nefarious and, lawless, that boomerang is coming back faster than you can even, fireworks and wrecking balls, and watch what happens. So now let's move into, oh, by the way, because number three from the unseen is because they said convergence. A new reality emerges, takes form, shape. Convergence is when two or more things come together. Biblically they say when two or more are gathered, there I am. So convergence is when two or more things come together to form a new whole. Convergence comes from the prefix con, C-O-N, meaning together, and the verb verge, which means to turn toward. It is the act of converging and especially moving toward union or uniformity. Uniting, unite. The fact that two or more things, ideas, etc., become similar or come together. We've talked about the purple wave. We've talked about as above, so below. A convergence of interests, opinions, ideas, ideals. There's a convergence, a new reality emerges. So the breaking down of the old, and it is not pretty, and yet the emergence, the convergence, a new reality emerges that takes form and shape. Try to remember the kind of September. When things were good. Because in between, it's going to be fireworks, wrecking ball, acid reflux, it's all coming up and out. It's going to be in our faces. So again, both the crescendo, because we've talked about the fire-breathing dragon it's old, it's withered, it's chained down, and only its head and its neck are flailing and sputtering smoke and fire. It's contained. And again, the unseen, at some point, the neck, the head is lopped off. It's done. So we have all of this going on. It's really quite... Put in the comments if you can feel the energy of what's being shared from the unseen. So we're going to go now to just quickly about hexagram 18. This is from Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com. It's about decay. Its action is remedy. So it's number 4 from the unseen, repair what is spoiled, this mandate. Its hidden influence is propriety, subordinate to your soul source connection, to the unseen. Its underlining cause is follow, be led. Follow your soul source connection, your heart, your soul, your knowing. And then be the example, show by example. So, failing to recognize the necessary cycles of completion and renewal, a situation has been allowed to move steadily towards a state of stagnation. We're seeing this on the world stage. Gross stagnation. The overreach, the stagnation, the fear, the oppression, the suppression, all of this stuff. Perhaps you have defined your worth by solving the problems of others, and those that follow look to you as a problem solver. You may have lost your vision of the larger picture by tending to its many parts. Regardless of the reason, the situation has lost its suppleness. It is associated with autumn, when the height of creation ends and begins anew. In the image of seeds falling to the ground, harvest the seeds of the future by moving the outer husk or protective covering of the past. This was last week's number 7, accelerated growth, seeds of change, and that we are the seeds of change. And so here Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com is talking about it's the image of seeds falling to the ground, the harvest, the seeds of the future by removing the outer husk, that protective covering of the past, To work on what has spoiled, separate what is dead from what will bring new life. This is our first quote, crossing the great water. So it furthers one to cross the great water. This is by the master. Crossing the great water to observe the situation with a fresh perspective. Success is assured through systematic renewal. See, it's important that we want to cross the great water. Yes, like in the image, are there rapids and are there, stones? But there are stones. We can make our way. So it furthers one to cross the great water. It's about walking through the fire. It's crossing the great water. We want to cross the great water to observe the situation with fresh perspective. Success is assured through systematic renewal. Success isn't assured through clinging to the past or trying to rewind the clock. It's assured through systematic renewal, advance. There is a need to overcome complacency so you can lift something to a higher and more functioning level. This is about facing ourselves. It's about repair what's spoiled. Stagnation only exists while you avoid the inevitable death of the old way. The inevitable death of the old way can be ourselves, an iteration of ourselves that we're afraid to let go of. The iteration of something. But stagnation only exists when we wish to avoid the inevitable. To tap the future potential of something, you must come to terms with what must pass. Before the starting point, 3 days. After the starting point, 3 days. 3 months of spring follow 3 months of winter to bring about growth, but only because 3 months of summer was followed by autumn to usher in decline. There's this 7/16 to 9/16. Summer, fall, autumn. When you are inspired by the laws of nature, you will be undaunted by the changing climate and merely set upon the task of reinvigorating renewal. And this is our second quote, which is, only the heart can reveal the answer. See, the answers aren't in our mind. It's not ego, mind, personality, human. It's the heart, the soul source connection. Only the heart can reveal the answer. This is by Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com. So we have these beautiful energies showing up. They're powerful energies showing up. And let me jump into astrologer Chani Nicholas. She's addressing your guide to Mercury retrograde in Leo. And this is our first quote, or our third quote, is, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. It's by Alan Saunders. See, all of this, we're going about our business. People think that they're going to hold back time and stop time and rewind time. And however, with these retrogrades, with Uranus and Gemini, Neptune, Saturn retrograde, going back to finish up business, Mercury assisting in its retrograde, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. From astrologer Chani Nicholas. The trickster planet, Mercury, has us taking chances, making mistakes, and getting messy again. Mercury appears to spin in reverse 3 or 4 times a year. The messenger planet, messenger to the gods, planet doesn't actually backpedal in the sky, but this optical illusion tends to wreak real havoc here on Earth. So get ready to double check your texts and back up your hard drives. Mercury stations retrograde on July 17th. And this time around, it stirs things up in Leo. So, and Kiki is saying, my niece and nephew moved away, so my role as auntie is diminished. A new chapter for me. Yes, see, because things advance, things that have completed their cycle may have become stagnant, complete, and it's about us embracing the new, emptying the vessel, repairing what's spoiled, meaning, and to Kiki's point, a new chapter, recognizing the new chapter. And Mercury in Leo, retrograde in Leo, is going to stir these things up. The lion of the zodiac thrives in the spotlight. It's proud, unafraid of drama, and willing to lead with an open heart. When the planet of communication is in this fixed fire sign, it encourages us to assert ourselves more intentionally. Intentionally, but with conscientiousness, with soul source connection leading the way. It's not about running roughshod, ego, mind, personality. That's the shadow aspect of divine masculine Leo. You want the chivalrous aspect of the divine masculine in Leo, leading the way. What we say matters, and Mercury in Leo reminds us that all our words and ideas can make a major impact, both positively and negatively. So again, to be conscientious of our actions, our words, our thoughts, our deeds, because Leo isn't exactly subtle. Any mistakes we make during this Mercury retrograde might be louder, more obvious, and more public than we'd like. Cringe? Maybe. But what's so embarrassing about our errors? The next few weeks offer valuable lessons about giving others and ourselves more grace and compassion when we fumble. If stage fright has been holding you back lately, this retrograde is a great opportunity to review your fears of being perceived or making yourself known. See, you never want to hide your innate nature, your soul source connection, your soul, your heart. Bring it to the fore. And those that are meant to receive it and be in reciprocity with it and synchronicity with it will. And when someone isn't, it says far more about them than it will ever say about you. So harness this energy, shine your light, come forward in a responsible manner. Channing Nicholas continues, notice the creative practices you pick up during this period or the situations that require you to get behind a literal or figurative mic. By the time Mercury stations direct on August 11th, you'll have learned new ways to get a little braver, bolder, and feistier in your self-expression. This is Leo we're talking about after all. And giving yourself permission to slip up, you don't need to be flawless to be worthy of attention or care. Elizabeth is saying, amazing opportunities and challenges are coming up daily. It's so exciting, but also hard to stay balanced. What can I do to keep my open heart protected in this moment? And she said, you just answered my question. Show up, stand in your authenticity, and remove the idea or the concept that you need to be protected. You already are. I am. So remove the thought that I need to be protected, because that's somewhere in the back. That's somewhere that's saying the past has harmed me or hurt me, and so I need to protect myself. No. I am. We're all open. Be open-hearted, and just know that I am protected. I don't need to protect. I am protected. And thus, you operate in a way of I am, of all-knowing. And you're able to, boundaries, Leo, boundaries, Mercury, your words are going to carry weight. So utilize them wisely, with care, and just know it is. You won't have to do anything. Channing Nicholas continues, a Leo Cazimi highlights your Mercury retrograde lessons. And a Leo Cazimi is when the Sun and Mercury in Leo are conjunct together. The Mercury is in the heart of the Sun. Clarity briefly enters the chat on July 31st. When Mercury cozies up to the Sun in a helpful and hopeful event called a Cazimi, this is the moment when the messenger planet is close enough to Sol, the Sun, to be bathed in its light. The key lessons you're learning during this retrograde period show up more vividly for you on or around this date. So stay alert to any signs, cues, or pearls of wisdom you stumble upon. Dreams, recommendations from friends, or even attention-grabbing billboards may have crucial insights for you. These are all ways that the unseen communicates with us. Important messages can arrive through many channels, so remain open. Keep a journal or your notes app on deck to jot down any words or phrases that strike a chord. Absorbing this knowledge is essential for sharpening the way you think, communicate, organize, brainstorm, and act on your ideas. So this is all about Mercury retrograde in Leo from astrologer Channing Nicholas. And you can see how all of these are conspiring. It's all conspiring on our behalf. Before we go on to Uranus and Gemini and the Saturn and Neptune retrogrades by Astrology by Lauren and by ethereal, etherealculture.com. I want to bring in number 2 from the unseen because this was just amazing. So the man of lawlessness, the bubble bursts. We have these retrogrades that we've been talking about. Going down in a blaze of glory. It's not always positive. Convergence and repairing what's spoiled, and this try to remember the kind of September, and the mashup of Katy Perry's fireworks. My brain is moving faster than my mouth. Katy Perry's fireworks and Miley Cyrus's wrecking ball. Okay. Number 2 from the unseen, I heard The Matrix. Now, we all know or have a reference of the fact that it's, the 1999 movie with Keanu Reeves. So they said The Matrix. Live, OI, meaning original intelligence, or Memorex, AI, artificial intelligence. Choose. So, The Matrix. The Matrix films are layered with philosophical and social commentary, primarily exploring themes of reality, free will, artificial intelligence, and the nature of consciousness. The core concept is a simulated reality, the Matrix, created by machines to pacify humanity while using their bodies for energy. Think about that. Pacifying humanity while using their bodies for energy. The films delve into the potential dangers of technological dependency and the seductive nature of artificial worlds. They also explore themes of identity, particularly in the context of gender transition and the power of choice in the face of control. All of these things are playing out. AI coming up. What's the revolution, the technological or the spiritual revolution? And the unseen is saying The Matrix, live or Memorex, original intelligence or artificial intelligence. Choose. The man of lawlessness, the bubble bursts, the illusion bursts. And particularly in the context of gender transition, massive amounts of discussion on the world stage about transgender individuals. And here The Matrix from 1999 is speaking about this or to this. The Matrix, the film, speaks to reality versus simulation, artificial intelligence and technological dependency, free will and choice, identity and transformation. From a philosophical influence standpoint, The Matrix draws heavily from philosophical concepts, including Plato's allegory of the cave. The architect and the oracle, these are 2 characters in the film. These 2 characters represent opposing forces within the Matrix. The architect, a cold and calculating program, embodies the deterministic nature of the system, while the oracle offers hope and free will. See, your soul source connection, original intelligence, that which everything emanates from, is the oracle that's offering hope and free will. It goes back to our key word of responsibility. We have a responsibility to get this right. We have a responsibility to wake up, to connect to our soul source connection, original intelligence. Because there is a choice. There is a finality to all of this. So are we aligning with the architect, this system that we've been in, this matrix? And you can see this in the old paradigm that's crumbling, our foundations. When you pop that bubble, when the illusion, and people will say that, this operating system, this matrix that we've been in, it's slanted. The gig is fixed. But they also said, the unseen also said some shows ago, the gig is up, the game is up. And when the bubble pops and when all of this happens, because these things have been stacked against people, well, you're either in one boat or the other. You're either choosing the oracle, God, Allah, Buddha, the all that is, the unseen, the master weaver, the host, or you're choosing the matrix, the architect, this falsity, this illusion, Neptunian. So the interaction highlights the complex relationship between control and chaos, determinism and free will. In essence, The Matrix is more than just a science fiction movie. It's a complex allegory that invites viewers to question the nature of reality, the potential dangers of technology, and the importance of individual agency and self-discovery. And it reminds me, before I conclude with this, it reminds me of this, in the book of Revelation, it speaks about one beast giving another beast its power. One beast, humans, humanity, giving another beast, artificial intelligence, its power by abdicating responsibility, by choosing an illusion, by not surrendering the past. So again, all things in moderation, all things. This isn't about AI being bad. It's about what humans, the choices that humans make that can make artificial intelligence bad, harmful. Because when you're not connecting with original intelligence, that original intelligence is going to guide us. However, when we become egocentric, oh, I'm doing this. Oh, that's me. I, me, instead of recognizing original intelligence, soul source coming through you, that we're the custodian of these things, you've lost the plot. It goes into decay, stagnation, and it must reset itself. It's like a Ouija board. You got to shake it, you got to clear it to clear the screen, to remove all of that that's been layered on. Concluding about the Matrix. In the Matrix, the red pill and the blue pill symbolize a choice between embracing uncomfortable truths and remaining in blissful ignorance. The red pill represents awakening to the harsh reality of the Matrix. It means piercing the illusion, seeing through things for your betterment. While the blue pill allows one to stay within the illusionary comfort of the simulated world. It's like to be willfully ignorant. It's the ostrich burying its head in the sand. The red pill symbolizes the willingness to confront the unsettling and potentially painful truth about reality. We're having to face the truth of how we got where we are. In the Matrix, taking the red pill means leaving the simulated world and discovering the oppressive, parasitic nature of the machine-controlled reality. It's going to mean that you're choosing to propel, to wake up. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. But oh my gosh, is that not so worth it? To pierce the illusion, to pierce the veil, and to actually say, I see the truth. The truth will set you free. A lie becomes a part of your future. So the illusion, a lie, it becomes a part of your future. The truth, your past. The blue pill represents choosing to remain in blissful ignorance and comfort. I would say willful ignorance and air quotes comfort. In the Matrix, taking the blue pill would mean returning to the simulated reality, content with the illusion and unaware of the true nature of their existence or your existence. The red pill or the blue pill, 8 billion angels, 8 billion souls. In the scene in the Matrix where Neo is offered the pills in a powerful metaphor for the human tendency to either seek knowledge or remain comfortable with the familiar, even if it's based on a false reality. The choice is presented as irreversible, highlighting the potential consequences of either path. One train is coming into the station. It's ending. It's going to go nowhere. We've talked about this a lot. It's done. It's dead. The blue pill. You cross the platform and you get on the train, that express train that You've got the golden ticket. Here it is, the golden ticket, that golden express train, because you got the golden ticket. New adventure awaits. It's new beginnings. Well, this is what this is talking about. This is what the unseen is talking about with the matrix. Live or Memorex. Original intelligence, artificial intelligence. And it's to say, to be aware that it actually exists. Original intelligence is everything. That's where everything comes from. So why would we rely on artificial intelligence? It's outside of us. It's external. It's only as smart as the garbage in, garbage out, or it's only, and it lacks a soul. It's not sentient. So again, with responsible, this isn't bashing AI. It's to wake up to original intelligence first. Exercise your soul muscle. Awaken your original intelligence. Recognize that it's coming through you. That everything we are, everything we do, it comes from original intelligence. Supplement, utilize artificial intelligence with great care and, yes, responsibility. Because there is a responsibility here. And this is the moment we're facing. Number 6 from the unseen this week, they showed me, they said CHRYSLER PENTASTAR. So Chrysler, the brand, and their logo, the PENTASTAR. Well, of course, again, when we're looking back at this, I'm just going to bring the astrological chart back up again. See, there's the star, there's the pentagon in the center. This is in the inner circle, in the blue lines and so forth. And so here's here's the pentastar. It's the pentagon and a star. And the unseen was talking about CHRYSLER pentastar. And they said, so a symbol like the CHRYSLER pentastar, a symbol is easily recognizable. It can have celebrity, meaning it's either a famous person or the state of being well known. So they're talking about this CHRYSLER pentastar. And then they went back to last week's topic, watch what happens next, a blinding light. In the Bible, stars are mentioned both literally as celestial bodies and symbolically as representations of various concepts. They are created by God, govern the night, and are used as metaphors for large numbers of people, divine guidance, and angelic beings. The most famous star in the Bible is the Star of Bethlehem, which guided the 3 wise men to the newborn Jesus. So they're about creation, order and control, and numerical significance. While the pentagon as a geometric shape is not directly mentioned in the Bible, its symbolic associations with the number 5, divine order, and themes of protection and warfare can be explored through a biblical lens. That number 5, try to remember, and what's happening, this 5-sided pentagon. And they said, these elements reflect the broader narrative of God's relationship with his people, his provision of grace, and his role as a defender and protector. So what they're saying here with this CHRYSLER pentastar, easily recognizable celebrity, a state of being known or famous, and then watch what happens next, a blinding light. They're talking about the Star of Bethlehem. So this blinding light, watch what happens next. So again, be open to how we were talking about how things present themselves and how the unseen communicates with us. This is what they're talking about. Number 7 from the unseen, the exact, and this is the fulfillment, the foundation, the completion of God's word. So stars, the pentagon, the star, these things being easily a sign. And then they said the exact opposite prevails. And the exact opposite of what prevails? The exact opposite of Piscean, patriarchal, the past, prevails. Aquarian, matriarchal, the future. Welcome, Colleen. Olivia's asking, does the Pentagon have two meanings to apply to us? Our forces in Washington, the Pentagon too. Well, again, see the force, it represents the force of God, or the warfare, the protection in the warfare. The United States, as its infamous Department of Defense, it's shaped like a pentagon. So we have this synchronicity, this correlation to these things. And so again, what they're saying, though, to answer Olivia's question directly, is this CHRYSLER PENTASTAR, this pentagon, it's number 6, it's spirit and service, it's what will be seen, a blinding light, the Star of Bethlehem. Will we witness or see a blinding light, a star that represents both God's protection and warfare, ability to protect his people? So again, and I always say this, all of these beautiful biblical references are from a spiritual standpoint. This isn't about Christianity over another religion. It's simply a reference point for spiritual wisdom, because this is a spiritual revolution that is occurring. The Bible is 2,000 plus ish years old in that sense. It's based on the Torah, which is based on previous other things. So there's all of these different, this lineage and wisdom culminating and coming together, and we incorporate it from that place of empowerment and wisdom. The pentagon and the pentagram are, the star is contained within. Colleen is asking about the pentagon and the pentagram. So they are both 5-sided. They are both contained within the other. And again, you see in this astrological chart for the Mercury retrograde, wrong one. Right here, there you go. You see the star element, you see the pentagon within it in the upper top of the inner circle. So all of these aspects and elements are playing out. So they're not the same, but they are within the same. They're all 5-sided. They're representing this 5. So it's celestial, geometric celestial forces, divine forces. And while we're there, before we go on to the others, it's number 8 from the unseen. They said nothing, with the word nothing underlined, nothing compares to the force of nature, divine nature. So the force of nature, divine nature, remember, there's nothing that compares to the force of divine nature within you. Original intelligence, your divine nature. There is nothing that compares to it. There is nothing greater than it. And then nothing compares to the force of nature, of divine nature, the unseen. And they did 7 exclamation points, and then they separated, there was a space, and then they did a final exclamation point. So there's a massive thing here about this. And by the way, number 7, with the exact opposite prevails, it was about the 7 of Cups. The 7 of Cups in the tarot represents choices, illusions, and wishful thinking. It suggests a period where you are faced with multiple possibilities, but some of these may be unrealistic or based on fantasy rather than reality. In this instance, it's like, what's, live or Memorex? What's real and what's illusion or delusion? And it's about choices. The card encourages you to discern between genuine opportunities and fleeting desires, urging you to ground your dreams in practical action. There's 7 cups, and there are auspicious aspects in some of the cups. There are, not so good things in other cups. So it's about choices and opportunities, illusions, delusions, fantasies, daydreaming versus action, potential for overwhelm, but looking deeper, discernment. So the exact opposite prevails. Again, they said to us, do not get sucked in to the illusion or the delusion, or what, quote unquote, the matrix, the current powers that be, do to stay in power, keep the paradigm, the old paradigm, intact or in place, or remain in control and power. This, do not get sucked into that. That was from last week. So all of this is playing. So now let's go to Astrology by Lauren, and she is speaking about both Mercury and Saturn station retrograde. She begins with a quote from the Clone Wars by Obi-Wan Kenobi. A great leap forward often requires first taking 2 steps back. We are quantum leaping into the matriarchal Aquarian We the People era. It is a spiritual revolution. It is a game changer. Sometimes, here's Neptune, Mercury, and Saturn going back to finish up business. So while we're moving forward, they're going back to tidy up. It's like they're showing me, like, you've kind of gone down the road, and then all of a sudden you're packed, or going on a trip or something, right? And all of a sudden, maybe you're a mile or 2 down the road, and you're like, did I leave the oven on? Did I leave the, is everything right? And you go back, you turn around and go back to proof check your home, so that when you officially depart for this new adventure, you're free and clear. Your mind's not cluttered, muddied with worry of the past, or did I, is the home going to burn down? Did I leave the door unlocked? All that stuff. That's the analogy the unseen is giving me. It's about moving forward just freely, fully. So, Astrology by Lauren. On Thursday, July 10th, the full moon fell at 18 degrees Capricorn. There's that repair what's spoiled. Full moons are often times of culmination, but also stress. And this is especially significant now, as we seem to be standing between 2 worlds. An old world that is not ready to let go of its domain, and the new one that is gradually taking hold. Convergence, a new reality emerges, takes form, takes shape. On 7 July, 7/7, Uranus was the last of the major planets to change signs, and with this comes this realization of a whole new paradigm unfolding. But even as Uranus entered Gemini, first Neptune and now Saturn, the ruling planet of the recent Capricorn full moon, are stationing retrograde. So even as we are moving forward, it feels like we are first being compelled to take a few steps back before we can finally proceed. We are needing to tie up some loose ends, bring closure so that we can proceed. So again, there's the fireworks, the wrecking ball, the bubble pops, the man of lawlessness. I mean, all of this, going down in a blaze of glory. It's not always positive. All of this is happening. Astrology by Lauren, she continues. On July 12th, 13th, Saturn, the ruling planet of the Capricorn full moon, stationed for its retrograde phase. And it does so just days after the full moon that occurred on July 10th. On the 15th of July, yesterday, Saturn and Neptune will be pretty close to an exact conjunction, just mere minutes apart from one another in the early degrees of Aries. The actual conjunction itself, when they're together, will perfect on February 20th, 2026. So we are getting a glimpse of what this conjunction can and will be initiating in the very first degree of the first sign of the zodiac, when we're free and clear, when we're fully free and clear in that February 20, 2026. Because again, we've gone back to the house, we're making sure everything's in order, so that when we leave, when we depart on our new adventure, we do so with a free mind, with joy, with this, no worries, no regrets. Whenever we have a full moon, the sun in one sign opposes the moon in its opposite sign. The sun in Cancer therefore opposes the moon in Capricorn for the full moon. The moon in Capricorn can symbolize the things that we must do out of obligation or responsibility. Repair what's spoiled. The promises we have made, what is necessary to achieve our goals. Is it not always, it is not always what we want to do, but it is often what we feel we must do, because there's responsibility. We have an active, proactive role to play. And so pick up the mantle and do it with care and responsibility, chutzpah if we need it. The sun in Cancer represents our responsibilities to home, family, and our community, and what we need to do to nourish and protect those in our care. The full moon can show us where these have become imbalanced and what we might need to do to restore that balance. With Saturn stationing retrograde and conjunct Neptune retrograde, we may be feeling like we need to regroup to get our priorities straight. This may require us to take some steps back before we can proceed, to slow down, to set better limits and boundaries, and to learn about the secret power of our no. And I would also say the secret power of yes. When do we know? Only the heart can reveal the answer. So if we know it's time to do something, do it. If we know that it's time to not do something, discernment, listen. But both are applicable. In the meantime, Mercury is also gradually slowing down for its retrograde station on 7/17 or 18, coming up at 15 degrees Leo. That's about humility. 15 in the I Ching is humility. And as it does so, it will be sesquiquadrate, that's a 135-degree angle, to both Saturn and Neptune. So all these events, the stations of Saturn and Neptune, the full moon, the station of Mercury, are carefully entwined in this unfolding tapestry at the very cutting edge of change and transformation in the world as well as in our own lives. This is why I'm saying these energies are epic. They're going to be arcing out for months to come. And there's a greater wake-up call here. You know, it's the matrix. Red pill, blue pill. Original intelligence, artificial intelligence. There's going to be things about, a convergence of a new reality and this going down in a blaze of glory. It's not always positive. And the man of lawlessness and how the bubble bursts, the illusion. If we pop, we pierce the veil. Astrology by Lauren, she concludes, Mercury often seems to be in its retrograde phases. There are about 3 times each year that Mercury appears to move backwards within the zodiac from where we stand here on the Earth. Earlier this year, both Mercury and Venus stationed retrograde and direct in league with the 2 eclipses in March. So she's tying back to the eclipses in March. This month, Mercury stations retrograde while aspecting Saturn and Neptune. The 3rd retrograde in November, coming up, occurs in the Jupiter sign of Sagittarius. Just as Jupiter itself is stationing for its retrograde, each of these carry a significant theme. What we are most familiar with when we think of Mercury in its retrograde phase are all of the inconveniences, the transportation glitches, the missed appointments, the mix-ups in communications, the gremlins in our technological hardware. But the most important significance of these retrograde periods is the need to assimilate and process all the experiences, changes, and events that have led us to where we are now. It's about self-reflection. It's about the choices we've made. It's about asking the question, how did I get here? And then taking responsibility for it and making the necessary changes. Repair what is spoiled. This in turn internally prepares us for the next leg of our journey. In the few weeks of the shadow period preceding the retrograde, there's always about a 14-day pre-shadow and post-shadow of Mercury retrograde. We find our perspectives changing along with our attention. We are moving into reflective mode and turning the attention within. And as Mercury stations for this next retrograde phase and makes those semi-squares to Neptune and Saturn, we are also processing and trying to make sense of some of the uncertainties, voids, and perhaps even some actual or impending losses in our lives. We are going to mourn the past, but there's a brilliant, beautiful, bright future ahead of us. Yes, Kiki is asking, can I use Mercury retrograde for my good? Yes, absolutely. Put an RE in front of everything. So revisit, relook, relearn, review. It's Mercury retrogrades, all retrogrades, but certainly Mercury in the sense of how we think, speak, talk, communicate. It's to revisit these things so that, to Astrology by Lauren's point, when we jump forward, we're doing so with clarity because we re-looked at things, we revisited them. It doesn't mean maintain them or live there. It means to revisit, to move forward, harness that energy. So Uncertainty and doubt can feel very uncomfortable, so we attempt to fill the empty spaces and voids with our own imaginations and fears, which is not always helpful. However, when we are patient, like Saturn, and have faith, like Neptune, and we wait for the clarity that will come in its own time, and as it will, we can then make better life decisions. It's about discernment, responsibility, clarity, repairing what's spoiled, revisiting, relooking at things. This does not mean do nothing. It means reflect, learn, attempt to weave together the threads of your life, tie up loose ends, take care of unfinished business, go over old work, clear up the clutter in your mind and your environment, create hacks for organization, both externally and internally. Remove the clutter in your environments, create clarity. This is all number 4 from the unseen. Repair what is spoiled. It's a mandate, a direct order, a directive. And those are all things we can do. We can go through our home. We can, donate, dump, sell, give away, all of these things. Remove the clutter in our environments. It makes, it brings that about. Lastly, remember what it feels like. Remember what it feels like. Try to remember the kind of September. Remember what it feels like to look at the world with the eyes of a child again, as if it is new, remarkable, and filled with wonder. Remember what it feels like to play, and just know that there is so much more happening beneath the surface that is far more important. There is so much going on. So again, don't get sucked into the illusion. We need to stay centered, use our voices, do it with clarity, discernment, and just know the bubble bursts. A blinding light. Watch what happens next. The value, I use that word, I'm using air quotes, the value of lawlessness for its own undoing, because it is bringing up so much illicitness. It's bringing up how the system has been rigged, and how that illusion, that veil is being pierced, that bubble is being popped. And when it does, there's a whole new world in a matriarchal Aquarian era, we the people era, that says this is how we're going to continue. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can take the very best, the purest, the highest octave of the past, of patriarchal Piscean energy, the chivalrousness, the chivalry. We take that with us. A healthy ego mind personality human. We take that with us. All in service to soul source connection. Astrology by Lauren, she concludes, it's a quote by Pablo Neruda. A child who does not play is not a child, but the man who does not play has lost forever the child who lived within him or her. So it's try to remember the kind of September. There is light at the end of this tunnel. It is that beautiful mantra. I retrace my steps to find the way. And there is that beautiful circular opening, just like on the main image, the man of lawlessness, the bubble bursts. That bubble floating over the skyscraper of Manhattan, and this bubble pops. There is so much more that I will put into next week's show, because there's some things that I didn't get to, but there's a lot here to absorb and to take in. So remember 7 of Cups as well, that this is about piercing the illusion or the delusion. It's about choices. It's about responsibility, and that we do have everything we need. And we will succeed in overcoming, in releasing the past and releasing what is spoiled. Because again, there are 2 trains. There's a choice. One is dead in the station. It's never going to leave again. And the other one has left the station. So wise choices. Until then, thank you all for your presence, your energy, your comments. Like, share, subscribe, follow. All of those are the good things. They support the channel and support the Dearjames and the Weekly Wisdom and Insights journey. They support your journey. And until next week, be well, be safe, be kind, be gentle, be wise. We will see you next week.